Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our virtual classroom. And what I want to do today is go over the quizzes assignment for today, for those of you that may have had some questions over some of these problems. And so you can get to this, obviously, by going to this is Tuesday's Schoology. Click on the quizzes, make sure that you sign in using Microsoft. Again, sign in using Microsoft, and you will see it under recent activity. It's area and volume, So let's go ahead and begin this. 1 second, let's get started. All right. So I don't know if this is going to be in the same order as the ones that you guys are going to have. So just be very careful and maybe take note of some of these problems. Hopefully it is in the same order. I believe it should be though. Okay, this very first question reads, which one cannot be the measure of angle A or B? So obviously we want to look at this picture over here. By the way, by clicking on it, it should get a lot bigger. All right. So I don't think I need to do that though. And so I'm just going to click on it again. So which cannot be the measure of angle A or B? Now, if you notice over here, ladies and gentlemen, they give us the measure of angle C. Right, that little square means that this is a 90-degree angle. This is 90 degrees, and they're basically asking, well, out of these two, which of these down here cannot be the measure of one of these two? Now, here we have to remember that in a triangle, all of these together should equal 180 degrees, So if this is already 90, all right, so let's take this away from the 180, so 180 minus 90, meaning that I have 90 degrees left over to split between these two angles. All right. Another way to think about it is, for example, if I pick A to be 30 degrees, well, 30 plus 90 is 120. That would leave 60 degrees over here because 30 plus 60 plus 90 would equal to 180. So yes, so A can be 30 and A can be 60 because again, if one of them is 30, the other one will be 60. And so obviously those can be it. Now, what if I make this 45 degrees? All right, so again, 90 plus 45 is 135. 180 minus 135 would make this 45. So obviously this can be 45 degrees. So that leaves me with 90. Obviously, if this is already 90 degrees, then neither of these can also be 90 because 90 plus 90 is already 180, and that's not enough for this one. All right, so 90 plus 90 is already 180. What about this angle over here? You cannot have two 90-degree angles in a triangle, right? You couldn't make a triangle that way. So obviously the answer would be this one. That's 90 degrees. All right, let's keep moving forward. Now, click on this one. These are 1, 2, 3, 4 different triangles, and it's saying which of these cannot be a triangle. Now, please remember, ladies and gentlemen, that when you have a triangle, the two shorter sides, when you add them together, must be greater than the longest side. All right, it must be greater than the longest side. Another way that you can think about it is like this. If I stop sharing my screen, if you can see me here, notice that if you have 3 sides, so we have this side, we have this side, and we have this side. Notice how it's impossible for me to make a triangle with these 3 sides. Why not? Because notice how when I put the 2 shorter sides together, they're not long enough to even meet the longest side. So again, the 2 shorter sides must be longer than the longest side when I put them together. Otherwise, you cannot make a triangle. Another way to look at it is, again, let's go back to this. Let's look at the first one. Notice how 3 plus 4 is 7. 7 is more than 5. That means that I can make a triangle with ABC. All right, with this figure. Let's look at DEF. 3.25 plus 2.5. So the shorter side plus one of the other sides. Obviously, that's more than the longer side. So yes, you can make a triangle there. Even with JKL, the last one, notice how it's an equilateral triangle. So yes, that can be a triangle. 10 plus 10 is 20. That's more than the other side. But notice this, 9 plus 16. 9 plus 16, ladies and gentlemen, is only 25. That is not long enough to even meet the longest side. So no, GHI is not long enough to make a triangle. It is not long enough to make a triangle. So GHI is the right answer. It's the one that you cannot make a triangle with. All right, moving forward. Finally, this is another review from yesterday. It's asking, given these angle measurements, which one is not a triangle? Please remember that a triangle, the measure of all the angles should equal 180. So 30 plus 60 is 90, plus 90 is 180. So yes, that one works. In DEF, 75 plus 25 is 100, plus 80 will equal to 180. So that's, yes, both of these are triangles. Let's look at GHI. 50 plus 112, I'm going to start with that. That's going to be 162 plus 38. That's more than 180. So it looks to me like GHI is not a triangle. It's more than 180. That's more than 180. And let's look at this next one. 83 plus 32 will be 115 plus 65 is 180. So ladies and gentlemen, the only one that is not a triangle is GHI. So I'm going to pick GHI. Excellent. Awesome. Moving on. Now, this next one. This is a rectangle. And this rectangle represents the base of a rectangular prism. Okay, meaning that this is essentially the bottom or the bottom face of a box. So if you look here at my screen or at myself, so if this is a rectangular prism, right? What you're looking at is this, only the rectangle at the bottom. So notice how this is a rectangle. So you can think of this as being 4 meters right here, and this being 2 meters, 4 and 2. That is what that is showing you right there. Now it's saying that the height of the prism is 7 meters, meaning that if you look at this high part, this would be 7 meters. So we have 4, 2.5, and 7. Now, if you go to OneNote, look at our volume. The volume of a rectangular prism is going to be length times width times height. Length times width times height. Notice how all of those things are given to me. We have the length, we have the width, and the height is 7, which is given to me over here, 7 meters. So let's just go ahead and multiply all of those together. So let's do 4 times 2.5. So I'm going to work that out. 2.5 times, let me just try that again. 2.5 times 4. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 2 is 8, 9, 10. So that's going to be 10. And then 10 times 7 is going to be 70. And that's it, 70 cubic meters. All right, moving on, ladies and gentlemen. All right, now notice how it says in triangle, so it's a triangle, DEF, the measure of angle DFE is 12.4 degrees, 12.4 degrees. The measure of angle DFE is 92.1 degrees. Ladies and gentlemen, even if you don't know what these mean, you know that it's a triangle. And a triangle has 3 different angle measurements, and we know that the angle measurements together should all equal 180. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add these two first of all. So 92.1 plus 12.4, giving me 104.4. And then I'm going to subtract this from 180. So 180 minus 104 degrees and 4/10. That should give me the final answer. So 8, you have to borrow from the 8. This becomes a 9. This becomes a 10. It's going to be 6. 9 minus 4 is 5. 7. 75.6 degrees. So I'm going to type in 75.6 degrees. Oh no, I got something wrong. Oh, that should have been 5. I'm sorry, 104.5. Oh, look, I made a silly mistake. But yes, so just to go back on that, that's kind of, oops. Anyways, yes, it would have been, this should have been 5. So 10 minus 5, this should have been 75.5. So I made a silly mistake, but oh well, I can get them wrong too. Next, we have a trapezoid. Ladies and gentlemen, let's find the area of a trapezoid. And if you look at your math chart here on OneNote, notice how the area of a trapezoid is given to you right here. We have base 1 plus base 2 times the height divided by 2. Let me erase that. So let's go back into the right here. So I think it's helpful whenever you actually write down the formula. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's write down the formula for a trapezoid. So that's going to be base 1. So the area of the trapezoid area is going to equal to base 1 plus base 2. All of that times the height and then divided by 2. And let's go ahead and fill this in. So the area is going to equal to base 1. Remember, the bases are the sides that are parallel. So it's going to be 68 plus 36 times the height. Remember, the height is always perpendicular to both of the bases. So it's going to be this, not 34. You actually don't need the 34. It's going to be what is perpendicular. And I know it's perpendicular because of this little square right here. So it's a straight line from one base to the other. So it's going to be times 30 divided by 2. Oh, not 20, divided by 2. Excellent. So let's go ahead and begin by adding those two together. Let's go ahead and begin by adding those two together. So 68 plus 36 is going to give me, that's 14, 9, 10, so that's 104, right? So area is going to be equal to 104 times 30 divided by 2. That's going to be the area. So 104 times 30, so 0, 0, 0, 0, 3 times 4 is 12, 0 is 1, 3, so that's going to give me 0, 2, 1, 3, 3,120. So my area is going to equal to 3,120 divided by 2. So let's do 3,120 divided by 2. 2 goes into 3 once. Remainder 1, bring down the 1. 2 goes into 11 5 times. 2 times 5 is 10. Remainder 1. 2 goes into 12 6 times. Exactly. And 2 goes into 0 0 times. So I got 1,560. 1,560. If I'm going too fast, please rewind it, pause it, and you'll be able to see the right answer just like that. Moving forward, volume of a rectangular prism. Looking over here, I can see the volume is length times width times height. Length times width times height, just like we saw earlier. So let's go ahead and do the length times the width times the height. So we see 2 times 1.5, which is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. So it's going to be just 9. Excellent. Moving up. All right, this one seems a bit odd. So let's just read it together and see some of the important information here. It says a rectangular, so that's important, rectangular computer screen has an area of 8 square inches. The width is 7 inches. And we want to know what represents x, which is the length. Now, we know that the area of a rectangle is length times width, or base times height. But I'm going to use length times width because that's what it's using up here. So area, A, that's the letter that they use, is the length, which we don't know what the length is. It's x times the width, which is 7. Now, which of these represents this? Area is equal to x times 7. Obviously, none of these show x times 7. But notice how we definitely don't have any addition. So it's not going to be this one. And there's definitely no subtraction. So I think it's going to be one of these two. Now, notice how in both of these, they isolate the x. So let's go ahead and do the same thing. Let's go ahead and isolate the x by dividing by 7. So that's going to subtract, that's going to get rid of the 7, leaving us with x is equal to a over 7. Meaning that our answer is going to be where it says x is equal to a over 7. The answer is this red one over here. All right. Let's move on. Next one, hurry up. Thank you. All right, find the area of the figure below. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a parallelogram. And if you remember from class, a parallelogram is actually very simple, the same as a rectangle. Area of a parallelogram is simply parallelogram base times height. Base times height, as we see right here. So let's go back. So here's my shape. Base is 9, height is 4. So base 9 times 4 will give us 36. Very good. All right, another one. If the measure of angle A is 72, what is the measure of angle B? Notice these lines right here, ladies and gentlemen, indicating that this is an isosceles triangle. It's an isosceles triangle. So if these two sides are the same, I can assume that these two angles are the same. So if angle A is equal to 72 degrees, then I can assume that angle B down here is also 72 degrees. And that is the answer for this one, 72 degrees. Awesome. Number 11, find the area of the shaded region. Notice how this is a triangle. This is a triangle. So what is the area of a triangle? Let's go with the formula. Just like we saw in class, we need to always start with the formula. So I can see here that the formula for a triangle is base times height divided by 2. Base times height divided by 2. So over here, guess what? I'm going to have to do base times height. Let's do it here on this side. It's going to be my area for the triangle is going to be whatever base times height is, and then divided by 2. All right, so that's going to be my base, which is this down here for the triangle. It's just the shaded area. Now, how can I get this base? Well, I know that the whole thing here is 8, so that's 8. But I need to take this part off here, which is 3. So 8 minus 3 would make this only 5 meters, right? Because 8 minus 3 is 5. So my base is going to be 5 times the height, which also is 5. So the height is from here to here. We don't need the 7. That's the slanted height. We don't need the slanted. We just need it from here to here, which is 5. So 5 times 5 divided by 2. So my area will be 5 times 5, which is 25. 25 divided by 2. And you would find that 25 divided by 2 is 12.5. That is my area. So again, base times height, 5 times 5 divided by 2. Ladies and gentlemen, the answer is 12.5. Lastly, ladies and gentlemen, volume of rectangular prism, we need length times width times height. So 4 times 2.5 will be 10. 10 times 7 is 70. Ladies and gentlemen, the answer is 70. And that's it. I didn't even get first place. Yeah, this is the one where I did it wrong. So it should have been 75.5, I believe. 75.5. There you go. All right. Hopefully you found that helpful, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, with that in mind, I will see you guys. In a second, I will see you guys next time.